The Chicago Bulls' NBA playoff history is legendary. Starting in 1967, they struggled early but turned into a dynasty in the 90s. Led by Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and coach Phil Jackson, the Bulls won 6 championships in 8 years. Iconic moments like Jordan's game winners, the shrug, and the last shot defined basketball history. After Jordan's retirement, the team rebuilt, finding new stars like Derrick Rose, the youngest MVP ever, who reignited playoff hopes in the 2010s. While injuries and tough competition slowed them down, the Bulls remain a symbol of resilience and greatness. From dynasty dominance to underdog battles, their playoff legacy continues to inspire. Bulls fans, the best is yet to come. Chicago Bulls fans, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the incredible history of the Chicago Bulls and the NBA playoffs. From their legendary dynasty years to the moments that defined them as one of the most storied franchises in the league, we're going to break down their playoff history, records, and unforgettable results. Let's jump right into it and relive the highs, the lows, and everything in between. The Chicago Bulls are synonymous with winning. When you think about playoff success in the NBA, their name is one that immediately comes to mind. But the road to greatness was not always smooth, and the story of their postseason success is full of twists and turns that shaped the legacy of this iconic franchise. The Bulls first appeared in the NBA playoffs in 1967, the year after the team was founded. Though they were a young and inexperienced team at the time, making the playoffs in their debut season was a testament to their determination. While they didn't make it past the first round, this was just the beginning of what would become a rich postseason tradition. Throughout the 1970s, the Bulls experienced moderate success in the playoffs, with several appearances but no championships. They were a gritty team that could compete with the best, yet they always seemed to fall just short of making a deep playoff run. The likes of Jerry Sloan, Bob Love, and Chet Walker helped establish the Bulls as a tough, defensive-minded team, but they couldn't quite break through against powerhouse teams of the era. The playoffs in those years were marked by a lot of close calls, thrilling series, and heartbreak for Chicago fans. Despite the setbacks, this era laid the foundation for the future, teaching the team how to battle and develop the resilience needed to compete at the highest level. The 1980s were a transitional period for the Bulls, marked by struggles, rebuilding, and the arrival of a young superstar who would change everything. The Bulls' playoff appearances during the early part of the decade were sporadic, but the franchise's fortunes changed in 1984 when they drafted Michael Jordan with the 3rd overall pick. Jordan's impact on the team was immediate as he carried them to the playoffs in his rookie season. Although they were swept in the first round, Jordan's performance was a glimpse of what was to come. The Air Jordan era had officially begun, and the Bulls were on the path to greatness. As Jordan matured and the team built around him, the Bulls began to make more noise in the postseason. The late 1980s saw Chicago evolving into a legitimate contender. With players like Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, and coach Phil Jackson joining the fold, the pieces started to fall into place. However, they faced a roadblock in the form of the Detroit Pistons. The Bad Boys Pistons eliminated the Bulls 3 years in a row, using their physical and aggressive style to keep Jordan and his teammates in check. But those losses were crucial learning experiences. The Bulls didn't just lose, they learned. They came back tougher, stronger, and more determined every single time. Then came the breakthrough. In 1991, the Chicago Bulls finally got past the Pistons, sweeping them in the Eastern Conference Finals to reach the NBA Finals for the first time in franchise history. This victory was more than just a series win, it was a symbolic passing of the torch from one dominant team to the next. The Bulls faced Magic Johnson and the Los Angeles Lakers in the finals, a matchup of 2 basketball titans. Chicago didn't just win that series, they dominated it, taking the championship in 5 games and giving the franchise its first ever NBA title. It was the start of something historic. The 1990s were nothing short of magical for Bulls fans. The team won 6 championships in an 8-year span, solidifying their place as one of the greatest dynasties in NBA history. Jordan, Pippen, and Jackson were the driving forces behind this unprecedented run, but it was truly a team effort. Role players like Steve Kerr, Tony Kukoc, Dennis Rodman, and John Paxson all made critical contributions during these championship runs. The Bulls' style of play, highlighted by their unrelenting defense and the triangle offense, was a nightmare for opposing teams to deal with. Each championship run had its own unique moments and storylines. The first three-peat from 1991 to 1993 included unforgettable moments like Jordan's switch-hand layup against the Lakers, his iconic The Shrug game against the Blazers, and the Bulls clinching their third title on Father's Day in 1993, which was especially emotional for Jordan following the loss of his father. After that third championship, Jordan retired to pursue a career in baseball, and the Bulls' playoff success took a brief hiatus. When Jordan returned in 1995, it didn't take long for the Bulls to reclaim their throne. In 1996, they completed one of the greatest seasons in NBA history, finishing with a record 72 wins and capping it off with another championship. The second three-peat from 1996 to 1998 saw the Bulls face tough competition from teams like the Seattle Supersonics and the Utah Jazz, but they always found a way to come out on top. Jordan's game-winning shot in Game 6 of the 1998 Finals, often referred to simply as the last shot, was the perfect ending to an era of dominance. It was a moment that will forever be etched in basketball history. After the dynasty years, the Bulls entered a period of rebuilding. The early 2000s were tough for the team, as they struggled to find their footing in the post-Jordan era. Playoff appearances were few and far between, and the team cycled through a number of players and coaches in search of a new identity. However, by the late 2000s, the Bulls were back in the playoff picture, led by a new generation of talent. Derrick Rose, the youngest MVP in NBA history, emerged as the face of the franchise, and the team built around him was one of the most exciting in the league. The Derrick Rose era brought renewed hope to Chicago. The Bulls were consistent playoff contenders during this time, even earning the best record in the league in 2011. That year, they reached the Eastern Conference Finals, but their dreams were dashed by LeBron James and the Miami Heat. Injuries to Rose derailed what could have been a championship-caliber team, but the Bulls continued to fight and make the playoffs year after year. Players like Joakim Noah, Jimmy Butler, and Taj Gibson played with the kind of grit and determination that embodied the spirit of the franchise. As we look to the future, Bulls fans can take pride in the rich history of playoff success that has defined this team.